Hey guys, Day One Loser here, and today I am heavily sleep deprived, and I'll also be tackling the most common thing an incel has on his mind: love, or the lack thereof in our postmodern society. It's no secret that we live in a fallen world, a world that was once vibrant and beautiful, plunged into contrived materialism and vanity. It's Mouse Utopia. We've reached decadence, and we're seeing the consequences of our sickening greed and hubris. Why am I saying our? I wasn't even a part of that. If you guys don't know, Mouse Utopia was an experiment where scientists put 2,000 rats in a enclosed space with no threats. They had everything: food, water. What more could you need? It turns out it really wasn't a utopia. It was more like a shit show because it was fundamentally unnatural. A law of nature is that there has to be movement. Your heart beats to circulate blood. Money needs to be earned and spent to have a healthy economy. Never drink from still water. Without movement, whatever thing it is, it's dying. By removing all the danger and providing all that they could ever need, the game the mice were playing became stagnant. The game where the strongest mice were at the top of the hierarchy disappeared, and what was left was vanity, a game of popularity. The male mice withdrew from society, and the experimenter called them the beautiful ones because all they did all day was groom themselves and probably jerk off if I had to take an educated guess. But they never fought. They were pretty much demasculized. Female mice, on the other hand, became hyper-aggressive and attacked even their own children or just outright abandoned them. The combination of all of these things, surprise, surprise, made them not want to fuck. And their whole colony died out. So what's my diagnosis? Death by unnaturality. Everything about their society was unnatural. It goes against intuition. It was no longer about how things should be, but how things are. By putting in an element of human control in their society, it broke the rules of nature, and their society could no longer work. I can imagine the mice in there just being like, it's just how it is, man. You just gotta work 40 hours a week. You just gotta accept getting your dick and balls cut off. Let me draw some parallels because this shit genuinely rhymes. The male mice who cared only about vanity are the look-smaxers. The female mice who cared about attacking their babies are the baby aborters. Why did this happen? Because women shouldn't be at work. And how do we explain away unnaturalism in our society? With intellectualism. I didn't actually kill a baby. That was actually a zygote clump of cells as explained by Mr. Silverstein at Harvard. But it's not only the women. What the fuck is wrong with men? Why are we so obsessed with sex? It's like everything revolves around getting laid. Your body count is a symbol of status. The whole point of being performative is a desperate attempt to get laid. These out here pretending to be gay and pretending to be LGBTQ just to get in some girl's pants. Let me put it into perspective. When we have no external threats, when the greatest achievements in our lives isn't winning the Battle of Troy, isn't hunting down great beasts and becoming great warriors, it devolves more and more. It gets dumbed down more and more until ultimately we reach the point we are right now, which is where all men care about is getting laid. It becomes what our society revolves around. It dictates the rules of our game. Men learn and use all of the meta tricks to get laid. Top 10 S-tier tricks to get laid. Number 1, lace their drink with a Xan. Our meta revolves around vanity. To be someone you're not, to hide all of your flaws. And what's the problem with vanity? The problem with vanity is that the shadow of vanity is insecurity. They're two sides of the same coin. By projecting an ideal image of yourself, you also create the insecure real version of yourself that you don't want to show other people. This is Carl Jung's concept of the persona and the shadow, and how they relate to each other and how it determines a person is how far apart they are. If you're a person who looks maxes and acts all performative, your shadow and persona are very far apart. And not only that, but you're also gay. Now, if you're a very down-to-earth person and you don't care about hiding all of your flaws, then your shadow and persona are very integrated, meaning you're authentically living as yourself. Everything that you attract and that comes to you was meant for you. Now, I kind of dunked on women in my last video comparing them to dogs, but don't get it twisted. I hate men just as much as women. The thing about men is that it's a competitive game. This makes men 10 times more shallow than women. Male friendship doesn't exist without a device to bond over. We can't just be friends for the sake of being friends. What that devolves into is just sending each other reels and saying, oh yeah, we should totally hang out, but we never do. So yeah, fuck man. And I totally get why some of these women hate dating, because they have a balancing act to do. They have to find a person who's not a complete immature man-child who can't get anything done and whines all day, with a veteran from the Iraq war with PTSD who will beat the shit out of her if his dinner's cold. And there's 3 types of men out there, and for it, y'all are really gonna like this because I'm about to explain all the secrets of finding you a reliable man. Number 1, there's the man-child. Number 2, there's the cynic. And number 3, there's the condemned. And how all of these guys are separated is how they cope with seeing the void, the brutal truths of reality. The man-child didn't really need to struggle growing up. He grew up in a controlled environment. His parents didn't want him to see the harsh truths of reality. This results in him being incredibly immature and delusional. So basically, he's a bitch-ass. But the thing about the void is that it catches up with everyone, even if you desperately try to avoid it. Peter Pan has to leave Neverland at some point, and whether it be getting into a fight and losing that fight, having your girlfriend cheat on you, or some random bullshit, you will be snapped out of your illusion and woken up to the brutal truths of reality and wonder why you never saw it coming. This leads to our man maturing into number 2, the cynic. Icarus flew too close to the sun and came crashing down to Earth. Seeing the truths of the world, he never wants to fall victim to it ever again. He learns all the dark Machiavellian ways to control people, to manipulate. He reads 12 rules to power. He buys knives and a Glock. He becomes too aware of the social games that are being played. Spread your legs by 60 degrees in a group setting to assert your dominance. He isn't a bitch ass anymore. He's a pussy ass. Although he looks confident on the surface, all of it stems from fear. Fear of feeling that pain again. Fear of falling victim to the void again. So he struggles against it in a desperate attempt to gain control in an uncontrollable world. He's not riding the wave. He's desperately trying to stay afloat. And the thing about the void is that the more you struggle against it, the tighter its hold on you becomes. By being so aware of all the social games, it sucks out the joy of connecting with people. People like this in the inside are not happy. You might even say they're living in hell. They're like vampires. Their joy comes from sucking it out of other people. To make other people fall into the same void he's in, he manipulates. He takes all the advantages he can get. He maximizes efficiency. Now, this whole time I've been framing this as sort of like a maturity sort of thing. I don't know why I did that, because I really don't think the cynic can turn into the one that I'm about to explain. I think it's more like people are like prone to like being happier because, I don't know, like some sort of genetic thing. Number 3 is the condemned. He's seen the void and he realizes he's powerless against it, so he doesn't struggle. There's no point in trying to control something so uncontrollable. He realizes that as long as he tries his best, all the misfortunes that befall him afterwards are the result of luck, fate, or even God's will. He isn't ignorant to the darkness, but he doesn't let it consume him. It's all about restraints, or maybe even surrender. But when shit gets down, he can see it, and he isn't afraid of it. He knows he can roll with the punches. And the thing about these 3 types of men is that 2 of them will make you want to gouge your eyes out and become a wrist slitter, and only 1 leads to a happy and fulfilling marriage. And the one that leads to a happy and fulfilling marriage, number 3, nowadays are probably the hardest and rarest of the kind. So good luck with that, boys. I wish you the best. Yeah. Men have their own problems too, though. It's like I said, our brains are mush. I mean, if you think about it, the whole act of sex is kind of disgusting. You're sticking like this rod of flesh into someone's damp pocket. Who invented this shit? And you're saying this is the ultimate goal in life. What a fucking joke. You know what's better than sex, though? A woman's genuine care. When I was younger, I've had times where it was just me and my dad, and my mom was visiting her family. And my dad's kind of a piece of shit, so I would get into fights with my dad. And I was in a dark place mentally, you know, high cortisol, couldn't sleep, thought some dark things. Mentally, I was in fear and hunger. And when my mom came back, it was like all of that disappeared. It just brought a certain peace and calm to my life. There's just something about a nurturing and caring woman's aura. Like being around men all the time makes you want to take out a shotgun. And this is historically proven. In times of war, these injured soldiers who've been in the trenches all day in the blood and filth, when they went to see the nurses, they described it as a certain sanctuary, a certain place of peace and calm in a otherwise bloody and grim environment. And because we're so autistic and we're so focused on what we can see and what we can touch and things that can directly affect us, we discount the power of women and we pretend it doesn't exist. And all that matters is like this insignificant sort of like side thing, which is sex. And I think the highest moral good a woman can do in her life is to offer her unconditional love, to be nurturing and caring, because that's how we reach a better society. I like to think of it as a woman's job to spiritually support a man, and a man transmutes that energy into the real world. A perfect example of this is Martin Luther King. When Martin Luther King was a kid, his white friends weren't allowed to play with him anymore because of segregation laws that were just passed. His mom saw him devastated and sat him down and told MLK, "Don't forget that you are just as good as anyone else in this world." So literally, if you're a female and you care and love a man unconditionally and honestly, you're quite literally making the world a better place. And the opposite is true. You can't expect a man to be a hero when he's never felt love from a woman. And that's not me trying to be dramatic and gay. That's just how it is. It simply doesn't work. A man's mind can't comprehend the concept of kindness like women can. And we sure as hell don't experience it like it's a common thing. It's a harsh reality, and the world gets darker and darker for men like that. We're so focused on the material, the big prize, the coochie, that we forget about the why. The coochie has just become an object, an achievement for men to get over with. And when men and women play these status games, it's just a race to the bottom. That's really all it is. I'm trying to prove that I'm better than you. I'm trying to prove that you need me more than I need you. So who can manipulate more? Who can be a bigger piece of shit? They've made a cycle of degeneration. These women hate men. Men withdraw from society. Mr. Goldberg's clipping coins. How can you ask a man to be a force for good when he's never felt mercy in an unrelenting world? Why should he be merciful? Why should he relent? And men are born with the right of God to do one thing, and that's to destroy. It's a scary thought.